Welcome guys, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to convert this e-commerce template into a Laravel application. So we have here the products, and there is a slider. We can add these products. We have discounts that we are going to apply. We have the Stripe payment, so here you can see the transactions and the payments successfully implemented. We have user detail, so it's a test mode. I will tell you and show you how to create the account and how you can make things work with Stripe. For the project, if we go here, we have cart on top. So user, when clicks cart updates, you click on that, you go to the cart page, you have the cart detail, you have total amount that user has to pay. You're gonna create the tables like products. We're gonna store the products here. We are going to use the factory, Laravel factory, to generate some dummy content, and we are going to see how we can use it. We are going to have cart, so once the user adds a product, goes here. Then we are going to see processing, so we are going to remove the user detail from cart when payment is completed, and going to put the detail in processing, whatever detail is company requiring to send the product to the certain customer. So yeah, so this is the project we will be working on. Alright guys, so I'm here on Laravel website and I'm going to create a brand new project. So we will be using Composer for it. So here, if I scroll down, you can see the Composer command given here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the terminal, and in terminal I need to go to the desktop. So cd desktop, and here I run this command. Instead of example app, I'm going to call my app shop. So it creates the shop folder. So it's here now. Now I also have a theme here which we are going to use in this project. This is the e-commerce theme, so I'm going to extract it, and here we have it. So if I go inside this, we have these files, and if I open it with the browser, so this is the theme that we will be using it, and we are going to convert it according to our needs. So let's do that. So I'm going to cross this off, and I'm going to go into the project is complete now. Now we need to open this project with any of your code editor that you prefer. I'm going to use Visual Studio, so here it is. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag and drop my project here, and here it is. So now here, if we talk about the structure, we have the routes defined in web.php, and if you're familiar with this, it basically works this way. You have a route. By default, Laravel provides one route which is defined, and it is powered by welcome.blade. Now this welcome is inside resources, and then when you go inside views, you will see welcome.blade. Now these names should match to work. So if I go to the project itself, currently we don't have it running, so let's run it. So I go to terminal again, and here I'm going to go cd, which is change directory, to shop, because we created the shop folder. So we go inside it, and then we say php artisan serve. Now it is going to start the local server. It is giving us this URL, so I copy this URL, paste here, and hit it. So you can see that we have Laravel application up. Now here, if I go to the code editor, and if I comment this, go back, refresh, it goes away. So basically that is powering it. If you go inside this file and make changes there, let's say I delete everything from here and I refresh again here, it's still not going to give me anything. So if I restore everything, save again, go back, refresh, we get it up. By default, we get only this file from Laravel. We want to have few files for user login, because in our e-commerce application, only registered user will be able to place orders or add products in the cart. So if we go in here, you can see in Vue we have only welcome, and if I go to app and then HTTP, there we have controllers. and inside controller we have only single controller present. So what I'm going to do in the terminal, so here I'm in the shop and it's in the same folder. I'm going to run the command Laravel UI, and it is going to provide us the UI component, and then we are going to install Vue components here. So I'm going to run this auth command, and it is you can see that authentication scaffolding generated successfully. Now if I go back here, you can see that in the Vue file now we have auth folder, we have layouts, we have home, and previously we only had welcome. The same way if I go to controller, we have auth folder and we have home controller. Now if I go back to application and refresh, we can see we have login and register. So if I go in here, register, we get this page. Now currently it is not showing any CSS. Let's correct that. Now for correcting that, we need to run a command. So I'm going to go back to text editor. Here we are going to run, there are two commands basically, npm run dev and npm run watch. So if you want to put less pressure on your system while developing, you can use npm run dev. So if you make any change, you run this command to compile, and then things will be updated on the browser. If you put npm run watch, then you don't have to care. Whenever you make changes, automatically it is going to update the output. But in that case, it is going to be bit pressure on your system, because if you're working on some heavy application, that can slow down your system. So here I'm going to run this npm run dev. So it is going to compile. Now it says sh mix command not found. Now that means we don't have mix, so we need to install that. So here is the command, and all the commands that I'm using in this tutorial, you can get the access to those given in the post in the description. So here I'm going to run this command now, and it should fix it. While the package is installed, we need to run npm run dev again now, and this time it suggests us to run this command. So let's do that. Okay, done. Now we npm run dev again, and this time hopefully it should work. Now it's mixing it, you can see here. So now if I go back and refresh, you can see that styles are back. So we need to have the localhost. Currently we are working with the php serve command. So I have XAMPP also running on my system, and here what I'm going to do, if I go to localhost /php myadmin, so you can see that I have it working. So I can create a database here. So I say here Laravel _shop, and I create this, and we can pass this database in our env file. So env file is where we define all the configuration for your database. So here we have localhost set as host, and Laravel shop. It's going to be, username is root, password I'm not providing any, and that's it for now. So I'm going to cross this off. Alright, so if we go and do the migration, because we also got some migration files. If I go in database migrations, we have few migration files here, and once you run these migration files, we can register the user then. So let's do that. So what I do, simply I run this command. I say php artisan migrate, and it adds few tables. And let's go back to the browser. In the Laravel shop, now we have few tables. We have users table here, so we can register a user. So let's do that. I refresh here and create a user here. So as a test 123, and I give a test 123@gmail.com, and password we want 1234567 same as confirm password. So register. So now we are registered. You can see that it's redirected us to /home, and if I click here, we go to main app. So we have here and we have this page, 2 pages. All right. Now we have the front page in here, as well as the page where we can process users' products. So let's work with the theme. We need to change it. So currently we are in welcome.blade. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first change the name of this welcome to product, so that's more relevant, product.blade. Now it's going to stop working because if I go back here and refresh, it's saying it's not seeing view file for welcome. So we need to change it here. We need to say it is product now. It's not welcome anymore. So we go back there. It's back there. Okay. Now we go here in the theme that we have. The theme I showed you initially. So we need to use this theme in our. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the Sublime text here. You can see this HTML, and the whole code is here. So what I do is simply get all this, cross this. Now in here, inside product.blade, I'm going to paste, I'm going to Control-Alt, delete, and then paste that code. Alright, now currently we don't have the CSS files and JS files, so we need to go inside the theme, and we need to copy this asset folder, because there we have all the files. So I copy this, and inside our project we need to go inside public folder. So if I go here, and it's here, so I can paste this folder right there. Okay, so if I now in the code editor, you can see we are saying asset.js and then main.js. So by default it is going into public, then we have assets, and there we have the file. So it is going to work directly. So if I go back to the browser, refresh, and you can see that this is the theme now working on our Laravel app. You can see that. Now we need to work on this and make it better. So for that, first of all, we need to see how we can log in the user, because we don't have those options here. So for that, what we can do, we can go back. So initially this was the code. So what I do, and here, if you notice, here is the code that is responsible for login user. So it is actually checking here. If the auth, then provide this link, otherwise provide login or register. So we can copy this. I'm gonna paste back the theme code, and I'm going to go on top here where we have navigation. So in the theme here, this navigation, we need to paste here that code that we just copied from the previous file. Okay, so here navigation links are here, so I'm just gonna paste here that code. Alright, it's like this. Okay, so we have li and then anchor tag, and here the structure is a bit different. We have if condition, then div, then anchor tag. So what we need to do, we need to remove this div to match the design. So I'm going to do that. I remove this div from here too. Now each of these anchor tag should be inside li. So I'm just going to copy this. Just like that. I'm going to go back and refresh. Now you can see that we have here home. So currently user is logged in, so it's showing home here. So if I click there, it takes me to home, and if I log out, and now it says login and register. So you can see that our links are coming in the theme dynamically. So we can log in again and have go back. So it says home. Now we don't want it home. It should be something else. So we will work on that. So first of all, I go to product page here where it says home. And that is here. Alright, we can call it cart. So we are going to show it as a cart. So when the user goes to this, user will see all the products user is looking to buy. Now, if I go to database here in our Laravel shop, we don't have any products table or cart table, so we need to work with that. So let's do that. I go to text editor, code editor again, and here we need to create a few files. So open the terminal, clear the screen here, and first thing first, we want to create a model for product. So I say PHP artisan, and it's going to be make, and what I'm going to say, I'm going to say model, and it's going to be product. So model should be singular, so I call it product. Then I say -m and F and S. So M for migration, S for factory, and S for seeder. So we run this, and it creates these files, and I'll show you what each of these files will do in a moment. In the same way, we can create a cart model. So for cart, I will call it simple cart, and -m for migration for now. All right, so let's see how it's supposed to go. So if I minimize this for now and go to files, and here in the migration, we have the create product table and create cart table. So we can create these tables now. Now factory is also present, so that we can we have product factory here now, so we can have some dummy content for products, and we will be working with that. So let's work with the migration. I create products table. Here we need to add few fields, so let's do that. So I say table, and the first thing first, I must save the product name, which is going to be string, and that's one thing. Then we want a slug, so the product will have a slug. Another thing we want to save is some description. So what product is about and what dimensions are, or anything, you can type in the description. Then after description, we want an image. So we want image underscore name. We're gonna store the URL as well as names depending on the situation, so I'll show you. Here now we need price, so we're gonna show user product price, and we will also show a price user can buy the product. So it's going to be sale price. So user will see two prices. So if we go back to the theme, here we have 69 and 49. So this is the price, as this is going to be the sale price. So after discount, what price is, that is sale price. All right, so this is going to be the products table. Now we have products table settings set. Let's add the cart table settings as well. So there, for migration, we go create carts table. Here, if you want to change the name, you can change it if you want to. I leave it as carts for now. So what we need to do here is we need to first of all create table, and it's going to be unsigned big integer. And basically it is going to be product ID. So the products we save in the product table, and the ID will be stored here for the reference. So here a table, and then we want to pass here string, and this time we are saving here user underscore ID. You can even save as an integer if you prefer. It's totally up to you. For saving as integer, we can say integer like this. Now I'm going to save our quantity. Alright, so after that we need price. So I'm just going to copy and paste here. I'm going to say price. Now the price is going to be float. So float. Alright. So it can be 23.50 or 70 or something like that. So it should be float. Now another thing we want is table. Again, we need to use unsigned integer. And this time it's going to be user underscore ID. Now we are doing this on-site integer because we want to refer this field to the product table, and here to the users table, because we have users in user table. So for that, what we do, we simply pass here something like this to create a foreign key. We say table, and then we say foreign, and here we want to pass first for product table, so product underscore ID. Now here we tell reference, the spelling should be correct, and here we need to pass the ID. So in product table it is referencing to the ID, and here we say on products table. So product ID of this table is referencing to the ID of product table, products table. So just copy this again and paste here, and user ID of this table is a reference of ID of users table. Alright, so looks fine. Now we can run the migration. So for that we can run migration. So I open the terminal and PHP artisan migrate, and we get an error. Duplicate column user ID. Okay, I made a mistake here. I said here user ID because we creating here, so we don't need to do it here. So I remove that from there. Sorry about that. And clear and run migration again, and this time it goes. Now if I go here, yeah, so we have products here, so the structure is here, all the fields we define. Then we have the carts, or you can call it cart, but I added it as carts. So here you can see that we have foreign key on user ID and product ID. So yeah, as we expected, it's like just like that. Alright, so we need some product. I want to have some sample products so we can show here. Currently these are just static products showing up here. So let's do this. Let's use the factory to generate some products. So for working with factory, what I do, I can close the terminal, go inside here, and here we have factories folder. There we have product factory. So I open this file. Now here we have an array. Now here we can pass some options. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass options as we have in our database table. So go here, products, structure. Now we can have side by side. So we want to have some demo products. So the first field is name. So we want to use generate some name here. So I say $days faker text, and we want maximum 25 characters. Faker is a library that helps us generate dummy content, random content. So you can check about that in the description and the link. It is in the description, so you can check from there. So here we have the name, and we need slug now. For slug, what we want to have the name and then convert it to slug. So what I do is simply pass here on top. I'm going to call $name, and I'm going to pass this there. All right, and then in front of name, I'm going to copy and paste $name, and then we have slug. Now for slug, what we can do, we have a function in Laravel helper slug. All we need to pass is $name here. So we are passing the $name, so that same name goes here and same name becomes slug. So this is going to work. Now to make it work, we need to make sure we have string imported on top. So let's do that. It's going to be use illuminate and support and then string. It should be fine now. Now the other fields we need to work on is description. Now its description is just text, so we can pass this figure like this, and we can just increase the count, let's set to 100. So that 100 character description. Now it's an array, so we should pass comma only. Another is image underscore name. So we want to have image name. So let's see how it works. So I go to the factory. If you search Laravel factory faker, and you will come to this page faker, and here if you scroll down, you can see the type of content we can generate. We can generate names, we can generate addresses. There are examples here, like how you can generate these. So you can check for your understanding. You can generate phone numbers, company, text, date, time, internet, user agent. So this kind of information we can generate for our project. So here we are doing the same thing. So we need to generate image in this case. So here we have the image generation. We can pass the width and height, and we can generate the image. So let's do that. So here I'm going to say image underscore URL. Oh, sorry, it's URL. And for using this, we need to again call it through this figure, like this. Now we can pass the width and height. So here I say dollar width. In our case, we want to have width. I call it 140, and we also need to pass height. And height should be, we take it to new line, and height should be, I think, 300. Comma. Save it. Alright, let's go back to the table. After that we have price. So let's add that. So I say price. Price is going to be, the price is going to be between some number. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to again use it outside, because also we have the sale price, and I want to have sale price set. So what I do basically, I simply say here dollar price is equal to, alright, and here we call this faker first, just like this. Copy and paste. Then add number between, alright, and here we pass dollar min number, and I want dollar min to be 100, and then dollar max number. So it is going to generate number in between these numbers. Alright, so it is going to do that. So here we can do this. For price, we pass this price. For sale price, as we want to give discount to user, we say -50. So whatever is going to be the number, it's going to -50 to that. Alright, looks good. We can have it working now. So if I go to the now before inserting data, we need to do some things. Once you have your factory file ready, you need to call it inside the seeder. So for that, what we do, we go in seeders. Here you can see you have database seeder, so we can go inside there. Now we also have product seeder, so we can call it through it. What we need to do, we go inside product seeder. Here inside we are going to say the model. So for the product, we have product model, and here we are going to say factory, and then how many records we want. So I want 25 products to be created. So it's going to create 25 of the semicolon. So 25 product going to be generated. Now if I go to models, we have product model here. So we need to import it as well, otherwise we are going to get the error. So it's going to be app /models /product. Looks good. Now what we need to do at last, we need to go in database header and call this file. So go in database header. Here what we're going to do, simply $this and call, and now we are calling the products header. Alright, so we should have this class here, and it's going to kind of run just fine. So yeah, we have it here, product factory, everything is set up just fine. Now one thing we need to do because we are mass assigning data, we need to set fillable values in models. So whenever you do that, basically the procedure is quite simple. All you need to do is simply go into the model and create a variable. I'm going to say protected and call it fillable. And you just tell that these fields, allow these fields to have mass assignment. So here we're going to say in the product table we have name. I'm going to break it down here. And all the fields, slug, and then we have description. If you don't do this, you're gonna face errors, so it's better to have it at place. Alright, so here we have image, name, then we have price, then we have sale price, then we have created _add. Alright, now as I'm done with this here, I want to do this same thing in our cart model as well, so that we however we're not going to do anything straight away, but in case we do, then we have the fillables at place. So here we do cart, and here the fields are product _ID, then we have quantity, price, user _ID, Alright, all set. Now our models are ready. And one more thing I want to tell you, that you can tell in your model what is the table name. So for in cart, I can say here public $table is equal to carts. So if you're like, we have carts here in our Laravel shop, so we are telling that this is the table name. That can be done as well. So we have fillable at place, we have products fillable at place, we already called the migration file, that's Cedar file. So let's do this, let's add these random products. So I run the terminal, and here we need to run a command. So alright, here we're gonna say php artisan migrate --. Okay, sorry about that. We need to do it a bit different, not like this. We need to say, instead of refresh, it's going to be seed, and migrate it's going to be fresh, just like that. And you can see that it migrated, it's seeded as well, so this product. So we go in our database here, and in products we have some random products. Now we have name, slug, description, we have images, we have price. So each price has like here, and the sale price is $50 less. So yeah, it's doing just like that. Now what we can do, first of all, to start with, we can have our products here, because currently these are just static products. So let's do that. So here what I do, I go to the first of all in route. So in our route, if you see, the first thing that be happening is here. So this is the page that is providing us the data, this front page. So we need to first of all connect it with the controller. So let's do that. So I remove this, and I'm gonna say here, all right, this is going to come from products controller. It's a class and use function index. All right, so we need to call this controller. So we say here use app /http and controllers, and then we need to pass the product's name, product's controller's name. Okay, now it has the access to it. That's perfect. Now I cross all the files because we don't need these files for now, and we need this file now. So let's go there. So in HTTP controller, and here I notice we don't have products controller, so we need to create one. So let's do that. I run the command here and simply clear the screen. PHP artisan make controller, and it is going to be products -- resource. Now this should be plural and model should be singular, so that's a best practice. So here we run it, it creates a controller, and now we have the controller. I use the resource. If you don't know about resource, it provides us these default functions. You can see here index function is created and create function is created. So if you're not going to run the resource, it's just going to give you the class without these functions. Now we mentioned here that use the index method, so we're going to deal here with index. So here we can use the product model. We can call all products here like this, and let's see if we get all the products. So here I simply say dollar product, and to check in Laravel you can dd and put the variable that gives you the output, what output you're getting. Now we don't have product called here, so we need to call it. Use app /models and then product. All right, and I hope we have it. So if I go to models, we have product, yeah. So it's gonna get us the products. So if I go back here and refresh, we get products controller does not exist. Okay, let's go back to here. Now we have the products controller here, and okay, I called it HTTPS, it is HTTP, and here let's refresh. Yeah, now it's correct. Now we have 25 records coming here, you can see. Now if I go to the attribute, we have the data showing up here. Great. Now let's do this, pass this to the front page so we can show to the user. So what we do here, basically, we gonna say return Vue, and Vue is product page if you remember. So if I go back here, so resource, Vue, and this is the product template that is responsible. I pass here with, or we can use compact in this case as well. So compact and products. All right. Now here, now we're passing products there. So in the product template. Now we need to find out where you see these products are coming. where exactly is the code for this, so we can modify there. So here, if I go to, okay, it's on top of it, so it's not this one. So yeah, this is the one. So we open it, and here we have column-G3. So we have 3 and 9. So you can see here we have the 3 portion coming here and 9 portion from here. So what we can do, we can open the 9 portion, and here you can see single product item. So here I collapse these all. So we have 4 divs or more divs here. Yeah. So what I do is simply remove all these divs, because we only need 1. So we have this 4 going up here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a loop here. So if I say, here's a set $products, as we are passing product, so here it's going to be end if. Alright, and here we're going to loop for each $products as $product, and at the bottom of it, and for each, and here. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna first, for the discount, it says 60% off here. We're gonna say for discount $50 minus, as we are passing that. Then we have image here showing up. So we want to get the image, so I simply pass $product there in the image, and we pass it like this, $product, and here image underscore name. Now the same way we need to pass the product name. So product name is here. We pass name. Other than that, we have sale price. So it's going to be sale underscore price, and also price. So what's the original price without the discount? Okay, let's go here, refresh, and scroll down. Alright, we have the things working. You can see that product names are here. We have prices. We have the, all the set. These images are generated by Faker Factory, so you can see that $50 discount, and that is happening here. Now the image is too high, height is too much, so we need to decrease it. So what I do here, inside here, we can pass some style, or simply I say height. Let's height to be 250 pixel. Let's see if it looks good or not. Maybe a bit more. Let's say 320. Yeah, it's better. So we can have anything, so it's working just fine now. Alright, so now what we need to do, we need to have a cart button that is going to work. So let's do that. So first of all, I go here. In here we have price. Here I'm going to put HR. Then I'm going to say button with the class of button. I say button warning, and here I'm going to call add to cart. Alright, it's in loop, so it should be showing up on each product. So here we have it here on each product. Now if I go back, we can have it center using text center. I just take it out from here and put just after the price, and now it should be fine. So All right, refresh, and yeah, that's fine. Now what we want to do, we want to use Vue.js in this case to work with the card button. So when we click on this one, it should update a card. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into our project. I'm going to close all pages except product. Now let me close all the directories so you can see what is going on. So here, now we need to go inside the resources. There we have JS. Then if you notice, we have app.js and bootstrap.js. Inside app.js, we have the Vue already set up, and Vue is binding to ID app. So it's going to work. Now one other thing to notice is we have a component created here, example component by Laravel for our usage. So if you go in components directory, we have this component working. So we need to work and create a component using Vue.js, and we're going to put this button in that component. So let's do that. So what we do, simply go inside here and create a new file. I'm going to say here add to cart.vue. That's it. Now for we can copy the content from here and paste inside this. Now for now, I'm going to remove this content. Just going to say remove this class as well. Now template should have a single div, and then inside we can have multiple divs, so be careful about that. Now we want this button to be coming from Vue.js, so I'm going to take that and paste here. So you can see now this button is in our Vue.js component, not in the Laravel blade. Alright, so now as we created a new component, we need to register it. So we go app.js, and here we have one component already registered. So I'm just going to copy this, paste here. The above one we can comment because we are not using it, and here we're going to call the add to cart because that's the file name when you're calling the file. And to call it, we can say add -to -cart, or you might want to say button as well. So add to cart button. So copy this and go to the product.late, and here we're gonna paste this like this. All right. Now if I go to the here and refresh, the button will disappear. So you notice here button is no longer there because our button is in the Vue component, and we need to compile using npm run dev. So let's do that. Npm run dev. All right, so it's going to compile it. All right, it's successful. So if I refresh, we still won't see the button, and I'll show you why. All right, scroll down, and we don't have the button still. Now the thing is, I'm gonna cross this. We created a component, and Vue registered it as well. We call the component. So the thing why this component is not working, because Vue.js binding the app to ID app. But if I go to product.blade and I try to search here app, you won't find anything, no results. So we don't have a div with the ID app. So here a concept of layout comes that we need to work with. So currently we don't have it, because if we want Vue.js to work, we need to create the element. For example, if you want to use this component, you should have a div with the ID of app, and inside that div you can call this component. All right, so let's do this. Let's create the layout. So we do here, I'm going to close this JS file. And another thing I want to mention here, that when we run the npm run dev, it updates the JS code in public JS. So we need to include that file, and we need to once we include that file, then only application will be able to see this code of Vue.js. So let's do that so that you get the understanding how it works. So in resource we have view, and then we have layouts. Now here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it front end dot blade.php. Alright, now what we need to do, we need to go into the product.blade. Now here, if you see, you notice that we have head tag, we have scripts calling, CSS is called here, HTML called here. So we need to separate the things here. So what we need to do, first of all, I'm going to start from the top. And just gonna get the head and all the HTML. Just gonna cut it from here. Gonna go back to the front end like this. All right. Now we don't have that in there. The body tag also needs to go in the front. All right. And then we have the header, which includes the navigation, and preloader, which is the loading component. So we can also take these two with our front end layout. Now the reason I'm taking this to layout file, because this navigation and loading is going to be working on every single page, so we can work from the layout file. Now only the content that is going to be showing on the first page is going to be here. So here, now I'll leave this and I scroll down. So at the bottom we have scripts. So you can see how we have JS scripts called here, and body ending and this, so we can cut this too. And we're gonna take this and here. So just to be sure things are working fine, I'm gonna paste here. All right. Now here is the thing. We have the layout file, and we have the content here. We need to inject this content in the layout file, and that layout file will process that content. So how we do that? So simply what we need to do, in the layout file we're going to say at yield. So here, after header, I'm going to say at yield, and I'm going to call content. Now this, if I go to products.blade, here all I need to say that this file extends layouts dot frontend. So in layouts directory, go to frontend, which is this file, and extend that file, and whatever is inside this section, which is content section, we are naming this section as content, and end section. So whatever is going to be inside here, going to be injected right here. So we're gonna get everything. All right, cut, and we're gonna put inside here. Okay, so it is automatically going to be injected here, and that's how it works. So you can see that we technically have our CSS there, we have JS there, only the content is in the separate page. So the concept is basically this: if you have some CSS or JS working on each page of your application, then you will put it in the layout file. If you have some particular JS working on some particular page, then you can add another section here. So you simply say add section, and you call it like anything. You can give a name as scripts, and then you can say section. Oh, sorry, it's going to be end section here. Now, if you call any JS in here, all you need to do in your layout file, you just need to yield again. So here you say yield and you pass the script. Alright, so that JS that you have, that is going to be injected here when user goes to only that page. Otherwise, all these JS files will work. Alright, so if you notice in this file now, we currently don't have the app.css and JS. So if we go to the another layout file here and I scroll up, we have the app.js loading here. So we need to include it in our layout file as well. So I go back there and our scripts are loading at the bottom, so I'm going to call it here. Alright, the same way we need CSS. So I pass CSS right here. So it's going to be CSS app.css. Okay, now let's see if everything works. Refresh. Okay, inspect. It says can't find the element ID app, so we need to add the element ID app. So if I go to the layout file, the whole reason to creating is to have the element of ID app. So what we do, we simply get here div with the ID of app, so we can work with Vue, and we simply cut our content and put inside it. Only the content actually, so I'm just going to cut it from here, paste in here, and this content goes inside there. Okay, let's go back. So I just take this, we put it after the jQuery load, so here. And also I want to include navigation and preload inside the ID app, so I cut this, and here, just right here. I'm going to minimize it so that we can see it easily. So now it is inside the div with the ID of app. Then content is yielding, and okay, so we don't need this differ. Remove that, and yeah, all should be fine now. Let's see and refresh. And I scroll down. Yeah, it's working now. You can see that our products and slider is here. So yeah, that's how it works. So let's recap on this particular thing, because it was a bit complicated. So the thing is, we created a layout file which is front end, and we had an app.late. You can check there as well if you face any confusion. So we did this. We simply added all the HTML from the template in this one. Only the CSS part and the link part we included here. The HTML part, for that we created a yield and we called it content. So we created a Vue file, and there we created a section, and we added all the HTML part there. So this HTML using this content is getting injected here. The same way, if you want to have some separate CSS, you can create section here, call it styles, and you can, let's do that too in case if we want to. So just like this, add section, and you just want to pass here styles. You can call it anything you want, but that's more concise to call it this way. So section styles. Now here, all you do the same way you did the yield content, in where you have your CSS and head, here you call styles, and Laravel going to inject your styles here. In the same way we deal with the scripts. If you have scripts for that particular page, you add scripts inside the script. Like here, if you include any JS file here, it will only work on this page, not on all. If you add a JS here, it is going to be working on all pages. So we have the app.js included. We have the app.css included on top here. And whenever we do the npm run dev, it updates the files inside the public directory, JS and app.js, and CSS and app.css, and these files are we including, so we can see that the Vue.js is now working, because Vue is bound to the ID of app. So if you want to change this or use any other ID, you change here, and then you change it here in your layout file. So here we are calling it. All right. So now we will be working with some of the Vue concepts. So if I go to the product page, and we need to simply go to the loop where we have the products. So, and there it is. So here we have discount, here our button is going. So here is a concept of props. So I need to pass here 2 values, and those 2 values are going to set up the product data. So first here, product dash ID, and what it is going to be. It is going to be the ID of this product, and we can pass that ID just like this. So I pass it like this. Instead of my price, we call ID. Second thing, we want to make sure user is logged in or not. So we say here user dash ID, and here we again copy paste this. Now in Laravel, we have a function that helps us identify if user is logged in, then get the user ID. So we say user, first it's going to be auth, then it's going to be user, and then going to be ID. Now if you put 2 question marks, you can pass here 0. Now what is happening here? We are saying if the user ID is present, pass user ID, otherwise pass 0. And we can check that if it is 0, that means user is not logged in, and we can stop user from adding product into the cart. So let's do that. I save this. We need to go into add to cart here, and here what we want to do, first thing I want to do here is create data. Now another thing we want is props, as we are going to deal with props. Another thing we want is methods. So we want to have a few functions, so we want to have methods. All right. Now we pass the product ID as well as the close the front end layout. Now here we pass the product ID and user ID. So to catch these values inside props, we pass 2 values. The first going to be product ID, and second going to be user ID. And this is how you get the values. Now what I'm gonna do here, when we click this add to cart button, something should happen. So here I say we on click dot prevent. Now prevent is going to make sure a page won't refresh if it is anchor tag or anything, but for now it's just gonna stop the default behavior. Here I add a function, add product to cart. Alright, and this function we don't have right now, so let's add that. So I created methods here. Inside it we can create a method, and this method is going to be this method. Now as we are getting the props, we can call these props straight away. So here what I say is a alert, and what I want to alert, let's get the product ID. So we say this dot product ID. Alright, so now we need to open terminal to recompile. So npm run dev, you can use npm run watch, totally up to you. Now it's going, we have no errors. Go back to app, refresh. Now I go to the product and click here, we get 1, click here, we get 2, so we are getting the product ID, as you can see. So let's proceed. For alerting user, I'm going to install a package. It is going to give user alert. So here is the Vue Toastr. I install this package, and it is done. Now we go to app.js. Here we need to call this package. So how we can make it work. So to use this package, what we need to do, where we have this here, I simply say import, and I call it Vue Toastr from Vue Toastr. All right, and here all we need to say view.use, and in here we need to pass this name, the name we gave it. So here we say just simply use it. That's it. So if spelling should be correct, so that's important. So we have it now. So what we can do now is we can check for the user. So here we alerted the product, we also get a user ID. So what I do simply, I simply say here, if this dot user ID equals 0, then we want to alert. All right. So what we can do here is to give the alert using Toastr. Again, you can check the link for the Toastr package in the description for more information. So it's going to be this dot $toastr, and it's an error. And what do we want to say? We want to say you need to log in to add this product in cart, and then we say return, no further execution. All right, let's go back. We need to recompile for sure, and let's see if we get any error. Yeah, all good. Let's go back, refresh. So currently we are not logged in, we have login register on top. So let's go here. To cart, we get you need to log in to add this product in cart, and perfectly that's what it's supposed to do. So let's log in now. So we give login, and I think we need to re-register here. Let's have that. So 678 register, go to home page, and now if I click on this time it doesn't give that alert. Yeah, but however it doesn't know what to do because we haven't placed anything here. So let's deal with that. So here we can even do this way, or we can say checking if user logged in. All right, and here if user logged in, then add item to cart. All right, and here what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say axios. Now we haven't installed axios, but if you go to app.js, and here we have Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is in the same directory where we have app.js, and inside Bootstrap file here you will see that we have access to axios. So by default Laravel provides axios, so you can use axios straight away. So here what are we gonna do? We gonna use the axios. So I say here $post, so we're gonna post data, and I want to create this route where I want to pass the data, and here I want to pass an object, and this object is going to have two values, one value, sorry. So it's going to be product name, so it's going to be product underscore ID, and we have the access to product ID, so we can pass that straight away. Product ID, like that. All right, now what we can do here, we can put it in a variable, so it's a response like this, and we can use a wait here, and to use a wait Again, spelling should be correct, and when you use await, you need to use async outside, so that will wait for it. Once the response there, then work. So okay, we have the ID, we are passing to this route, we don't have that route. Well, we are gonna get the response here. So what I do simply is say here console.log response data. So we'll see the response. Okay, now let's first deal with this cart route, otherwise it is not going to work. So we go back to the web. In here, we need to create the cart route. Now currently I have a home route which is going back to whenever you go to cart on this page. I don't want this page, I want a separate page for cart. So we can get rid of this. So here, and what I do is simply go into the views, and then there is home blade. I can delete this file like that. Then we go into the app, HTTP, controller, home controller. We can delete that. Okay, now it's going to give us error because we just deleted it. So we call it cart, and we need to have the controller called here. So we need to change the name, and I'm going to call this as cart. So we are naming it here. Alright, so what we need to do, we need to create, let's see if we have the controller. So if I go to controller, we don't have cart controller, so let's create one. So we say here clear PHP artisan make controller carts controller, and it's going to be resource. Hit that, go there. Alright, now here we call it carts controller. We should have it on top, so let's copy this, paste here. I copy carts controller and paste it. Because they're in the same directory, they should be included. Now it's the index, but we want to work on store because no. So when user click on that particular product, it is going to store in cart. So we can use store method in that case. Alright, so when we click on this, it goes to store method. So let's see, we go carts and go in store method here. We have right there. So we are passing an ID, if you remember. So we have product ID, so we can first find if there is a product with that ID. So here, simply, we need to say $product, and I'm going to say here product model, and then we're going to say find $request, and we say get, and we are passing here the product ID, the exact name. So I'm going to copy this from here, go back here, paste here, and once we find it, we want to get it first here. Now we can see this again using DD, like if we get the value. So if I go back here now and refresh, now here I'm gonna go network. So I run the npm run dev again, and it recompiles, no error. I refresh the page. Now if I go to add to cart, and here we are getting the error this time, method 405. Okay, maybe method is not matching. I'm doing post here, and here in the web we have get, so it's gonna give us problem. So it's going to be post. And this time, let's see if I hit again. If I go to network, and here, response. So we don't have the model called there, it says not found. And that's something we need to be worried about. We need to call it. So here, So I call the model here, but I haven't included it. So here we say use app models and then product. Alright, now we have it and we are getting it here. Alright, hit it again. This time it is green. Now we have the returned data. So you can see that we got the data. Okay, great. Now we need to add the product in the cart. So here I say getting product details, and here I say adding product in cart. Alright, and what we do basically, we call the cart model and we say create, and we basically pass an array, and array going to have these values: product underscore ID, and then we're gonna have here, because we are fetching it, we can basically pass it here, so it's gonna be ID, or you can pass it through there because we are also getting a through request, but we also need more information. So here $quantity. Okay, it's not $quantity, it's going to be quantity. As it's array, it should be like this. So when we first insert, quantity always going to be 1. Then we have price, and price we can get from this product here. So price going to be sale price. So we get sale underscore price. Alright, then we can get user underscore ID. Now as user has to be logged in, we can use auth, user, and then ID. So this is going to provide the user details. So if I go back to the database and into the carts, so we have these fields. I don't think there is any other. So we have product ID, quantity, price, user ID. Yeah, that's it. So here I simply put this into $cart is equal to this, and here we can say if $cart, then we can return some response, message data cart updated. Alright, for now, let's see if it works or not. So let's see. So go back to the site, refresh, and here let's go back to the console, delete all, hit it, request 500. Okay, cart is not included. Sorry about that. We just used cart here, so we need to include it. So we totally forgot about it. So here it's going to be cart. Let's go back and hit again. This time cart updated. So we should have the console log message cart updated. So yeah, we have data in cart now. So if I go to the cart table, we have the product ID quantity here. Now if user clicks same product again and again, we don't want to insert again and again, we want to update the quantity in that case. So let's do that. For that we can put check here. So simply we need to say that if cart already has the product. So here we say cart where product underscore ID is equal to the available ID. Then we can get here first, or we can get here, let's say pluck ID. Alright, and we can say here product found in cart. So if I simply dd this time here, so $this, like this, we go back here and hit this, we go to the network tab here, we get the collection which is empty, so we can check it. So if I say here is empty, this is how you check a collection if it is empty or not. So now if I hit again, it says true. So the thing is, the product ID of, we have the one of the product, I don't know which one, so let's hit this one, true, false. So this one is already there, but the rest do not. So yeah, so here we are checking this. So if product is empty, so we just want to do this. So I simply say here, we create an if statement. If it is empty, do this and paste inside it, indent it a bit, and put this inside here. Alright, I say here incrementing product quantity. Now for incrementing, we need to change this code a bit. So what I do is simply remove this portion, and here I say where. So where the product ID we know is already present, so we need to pass here ID. So where the product ID is this, simply increment. So there is a function in Laravel, increment, and what we want to increment, it's quantity. Alright, so now this will also update the cart variable, and we are returning the response here. I have a DD here, moving it. So here now, if I refresh, and now if we click on, so we have one product there already. So that was the first one. So if I click here and go back there and click here, you can see that it updated the quantity. And if I click again, and yeah, quantity is 3 now. And yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Now we can either update the price as well if we want to. So price going to be the number of times the quantities, or we can calculate it on the front end. So let's leave it for the front end. So now you can see that we have the, if I click on this one, so we have second product with quantity 1, which is fine. And there is an issue, I think it's not taking the price correctly. Let's see that. So somewhere here is the problem, because we are getting a product and we are passing an ID and getting the first. So if I go here, it's going to change this to get simply, and then here, let's see what values we get. We simply say DD here, so that we can see what there is. So I go back here and refresh. Now here we get a collection, and here we have the value, and that's fine, but we have more than one, you can see here. So we have here going on another, and it was going for firsts, it was just picking this record. But on this particular point, we only want one product, not all. So if I go to the products table, so if we are dealing with this product, we only want this product, we don't want any other product. That means the conditions somewhere not working properly. So we say where, and I pass here ready equals that, then get. Let's see what happens this time. So if I go back, hit here, now we have array of 1. You can see on top array of 1, and yeah, now it's fine. Now even we can use first as well. So if I say first here, so it should be fine, I think. So let's go hit again and go back here, and yes, we have the same data. So only once, on one single product, that what we basically need. So I'm just gonna remove this, and let's do this. I'm gonna remove the products from the cards table. So here, check all, delete, and we reinsert the products, so see if everything works fine. So I go here, I click here, add to cart, and it insert with the price this, product ID 1. Now I add another product. This time it should have separate ID, product ID, and separate different product price. So yeah, it's working fine. We can have this 842. Yeah, it's working fine now. If I again click the same product, it should increment as well. So yeah, it's incrementing too. So alright, so currently it is working just fine. If I go back to the code, we are returning and console logging here, and in the cart I'm returning the message, the cart updated. What I want to do is I want to get the items in the cart, so we can display to the user. Check user cart items, user ID, and we can count it. So here if I say $user items, we can see what we get. So I simply say dd $user items. What I do is simply take it on top, so just this happens, and then we stop the, because after dd it is not going to execute. So just to check what is going currently, we put it here on top at first. Now I go back here, if I hit this, network, XHR, latest one, 3. So we have three different products. So if you want to have the quantity, that's up to you, but I'm going to leave it for a product. So we have 3 products added, and it's giving us 3. So that is something we can return. So here, simply we have access to this user items, and where we are passing this, we can pass it like this. Items, and the items is user items. Alright, now this time, now when you hit this, it's going to be message cart updated item 3. So now we can use it because we are getting here items 3 cart updated. So let's do that. So what we do here, as we are returning it, I'm just gonna, we go back to the to cart, and here I'm going to check for an event. So what we can do basically, we can say this dot $root, and this is how you pass the data in component. So here we say emit, alright, and here I'm gonna say change in cart, alright, and then whatever response we are getting, I'm gonna pass here. So we say response dot data dot, if you remember, if we go here, we have items, so we can pass items like that. Alright, now let's do one more thing here. We need to work basically, because when I go here and on top we have cart here. So it should show us the number of products added and the checkout. So let's do that. So what we need to do, first of all, I go to product blade here on top where we have the so navigation is in the layout file, so let's go there. So I simply go in the here in the views, layouts, and their front end on blade. Here is the header, and here we have our navigation. So in our main front end layout file, we have the cart button, which is here. So guys, you can see here. So the way we created a component for the add to cart button here, the same way we need to create for this. So what I do, I simply go to the components. I'm going to create a new component here, and this is going to be cart.view. Alright, I take code from sample. Just simply gonna copy and paste here, remove everything from inside it. A single div is required. Now we need to have the button here, so I'm just gonna cut from there and I'm gonna paste inside here. Alright, looks good. So we have the cart view. I'm going to need to register it, so we go back to app.js. The way we previously registered one, I'm gonna register this component here. So here it is cart, and we can call it cart. Alright, so we can call it there now. So simply cart. That's it. It should be fine. So if I go back here, we need to rebuild it, recompile it. So let's do that first. So npm run dev. Let's see if there are any errors. There is error, so let's check that. Alright, so we moved the URL inside the view file, so we can't use this approach of passing href. So if I go to cart.view file, and here we are passing URL like this. We don't need to do it this way. We just remove it like it's going to be this way now. Alright, so this time if I can recompile it, it should be fine. Yeah, it's fine now. Refresh. We still have our card there, and that makes sense that it's working. So yeah, let's show the I wanted it as a button so it looks a bit better, so let's do that. So as here we already have class here. Let's change it to BDN warning, and I remove all the rest of classes. Alright, to see the changes we need to recompile. Alright, it looks button, so it's fine now. Now let's show the count of the items in the cart. So if I go here, all we need to do when it is mounting, we are running something, so we can look for an event here. So we say this dot root $on, and here we are going to pass the one we created in add to cart. So change in cart, so just gonna pass here, and then we're gonna call arrow function, and I'm gonna call item here, and here what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a variable. So for a variable we want data, and something like this. Inside we need to return an object, and then they're going to be item count. By default it's going to be empty string, and here all we need to do is say this dot item count is equal to item. All right, so that's all we need to do. So yeah, that's it. And here where we have our cart, here we can display it. So here simply where we have cart, I'm gonna pause this and gonna pause item count like this. Okay, so let's see if we recompile. No errors, all good. We go here, refresh, and we get 3. So it is happening on click of this. So now there is a thing, then I click here because it is incrementing here, but it is only showing 3 there. That's not the correct thing. So what we do, we get all the count at the sum of the quantity and display that. So go back to the carts here, and here where we are getting the item. So we are getting item here. So what we can do, we can say sum, and what we want to sum, we want to sum the quantity. So we can pass that here. So I'll just copy from here, pass there. All right, save it. Now refresh. Okay, so when I click here, we get the count. So if we see here, we have the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here it is 8. Alright guys, what I do, I'm going to remove the data, and alright guys, the issue here is that we are checking here for the quantity, for the sum, and then we are adding the product. So it is checking before adding. So we need to do it at last so that we have the correct count. So just gonna remove this and scroll down. So here it is inserting, and just after that we can put it here. And here we are passing the user item. We don't even need to create this variable. You simply can pass this straight in the array. So I just cut this from here and just replace it with this. Alright, so now it is just when it is returning only, then it is summing up. So here now if I refresh, so if I add here, so we have item 1, and this we have item 2. So yeah, it's working perfectly now. Okay, that's great. Now what we need to do, we need to work with the card page now. So user goes here, so it goes to the page. Also, when we refresh the page, if you notice, we get card, we don't get count. The 2 things we need to correct. So currently if I go here and click add to cart, it updates there, but when I refresh the page, it should show us the count there. And as well as when I refresh the page, you will see that the navigation is not showing up, and if I scroll, then it comes up. So we want to make sure that on refresh we display the it stays there. It's so that we user can see the card if there is value. So let's do that. So first of all, for the card, we have the component. I go here inside the component card.view. We have mounted, and where we are checking for this event and showing the count. But by default, we can fire a function here. So for that, what I do is simply say here methods, and I'm going to pass a method here. So get card items on page load. All right, and simply we can call this method here. So this method. All right. Now what we're gonna do, if I go back to add to cart here, we are basically getting passing the product ID, and then in reverse we are getting the response. So what we can do, we can still do the same, And what we do here, basically, we are going to use this code. I'm going to pass it here. Notice it's going to fire on the same route. We don't have product ID anymore this time. Alright, and whatever response is, it's going to be the response data items that we need. So we can have this and we can put it inside this count like this, and then we can simply alert this item count. Alright, now we need to modify the function in the, if I go to, let's go back to the controller. So here, when we go to cart, it goes to the carts controller, so we need to go there. And here, now, so it is going to store method. So here what we are going to say, we need to check if we have the product ID. Alright, so here we simply say, if not product ID, then just return something, and that return is going to be the value we are looking for. So it's going to be this. So we're just going to copy this and we want to return this. Alright, so here we say items returned. Alright, so for a current user, it's going to get the sum and return the value. Save that, and that's it. That should work. So we have it here. So we need to run the npm command here. So let's do that. Npm run dev, and I run the command. And we get an error. Let's see, what is it? Okay, I'm getting wait, so it's going to be a sync here. So let's try again. Alright, let's go back and refresh. We get 3, we get 3. That's great. So we click here, it becomes 4. I refresh the page, we get 4, and we get 4. So that's great, it's working. So we can remove the alert from here. Now the other thing we need to correct is that this nav bar should be always showing up. It shouldn't go away. For that, we go back here in the front end layout. We have navigation showing up here. So here all we need to say is navbar fixed top. Okay, now we added this, we need to add one more thing, and that's going to be quite a bit of a hack here. So what we want to do, basically navbar is going to be fixed on top, and when user scrolls it stays there. So if user refreshes whenever user is somewhere at the bottom, we might want to make sure that it goes up, it shows from the top, so that user again scrolls and this sticks there. So for that, what we can do is simply go into frontend.blade. Here at the bottom where we are including the script, here I'm going to add the script tag because we want to do this on every page, so we need to add a layout file. So here I'm going to say window, and then it's going to be on before unload, and it's going to have a function, and in this function basically we're going to say that window dot scroll top, scroll to, because we want to make sure it stays on the top, so it's going to be 0, 0. So once you have this in place, now if I refresh anywhere in the bottom, it takes me to the top. So if I go down here and refresh, we are on top. So user, once on top, this navigation gonna stick, so user will be able to see. Now if we add here, it updates. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Now let's work with the cart page so that we see our item. I notice there is this error data function that should return an object. So if I go to the file, it is saying add to cart, So I forgot to return the data here. There should be a object returning. So now if I compile, this error will go away. So okay, now refresh, and that error is gone. So now let's work with the cart. So when I click on cart now, it goes to /home. Now I want to take it to somewhere else, so let's do that. So we go here and we're going to create another route. I'm going to copy the code here, and what I say checkout, and here it is going to be carts controller. That's fine, and I'm going to use index method in this case. Give it a name of checkout. So here we will have all the list of content. Now this, in our navigation, we need to update this. So for front blade, I go to the navigation options here. So our navigation is right here. Okay, we have cart here and cart is here. So it's /home, it says. We just change it to /checkout. Now we need to recompile again because it's a Vue file. Alright, so now if I go back and I click on the cart again, it goes to /checkout, and that's fine because we want it to go there. So here, now I go to web, and here we need to work with this function. So here, I'm gonna close these pages for now. Carts, there we have the index method. Alright, so let's go there. So I return a view here, and that view needs to be checkout page. So we don't have it right now, so let's go there. So here under sources, views. Now you can even create a directory if you want to. So let's do that. Let's create a directory. I create a folder here. So I say pages, and inside pages I create the page checkout.blade.php, and here all we need to say pages.checkout. Alright, this is the page that needs to be inside single quote. Pages checkout, yeah, perfectly fine. We don't have checkout.blade, so let's create one. Oh, sorry, we have it here. So what we can do is we can get everything from the, basically all we need is we need the layout. So we can copy this from the top of our product and we paste in here, and then here we say end section. Alright, for style we don't need it or anything right now, we just need this. So very fresh, and we have method not supported, so for that we need to go back to web and change it to get and refresh. Now you see we have the navigation on top because it's extending the same layout. Now we need to put some content here which is going to display the list of products user ordered. Currently we don't have anything on this page, so I'm going to boot snippets. It's bootsnip.com. Here you can get the free snippets. So here I have this here checkout page. So basically we will show our content here and the order summary total here. So I copy the stuff from here. So simply what I need to do, I copy this div row, and we go to our site, and here in content I'm gonna paste this. Let's see if it works. If I refresh here, alright, it is working, but it is kind of broken, so let's correct that. So for this we need CSS, and this CSS which is provided by this particular snippet, so we just I'm gonna get this CSS as well. So I'm just gonna copy this all. Now this CSS will apply only to this page, so we don't need to include it in the layout file, we need to include it in this checkout blade. So what I do simply, here I say actually CSS goes on top before content, so here section, and here it's going to be styles, and then end section. Alright, and here it's going to be style, and then CSS, we move the CSS. So here we have our CSS, so just gonna indent it a bit. Alright, now as we are calling it in section styles, this also needs to be inside the layout file. So if I go to the front end, and here we are calling the style. I'm gonna move these styles on top, so all the other styles come afterwards. So here, just on top of styles, here I'm gonna yield this. We have it showing up. Now it's showing, but it is not proper. So let's correct that. So we go back to checkout, and here what we need to do is basically we need to it's a class of row, so I'm just gonna copy this and I'm gonna create a div with the class of container, and I'll refresh. It is in the middle. Now we need to put some padding on top, so let's add some padding. So this same div, here I say check out box, and we can pass CSS right here in the style of this. So here I pass this, margin top 200 pixel. Let's see if it works fine. So refresh. Yeah, it's a lot better. So we have our product we will be showing here. This select tone length, we don't need this portion, so we can delete that one. So it's this box and these two. Yeah, so this is not needed. So refresh. Alright, so let's show the products here. So for displaying our product from the card, we can use two approaches here. One is using Laravel, or the second is using Vuejs. So for Vuejs, we need to create a component. For Laravel, we can display on the same page. So what I want to do in this, I'm going to use Vuejs for this particular project. So let's do that. So what we need to do, we need to take all this code which is responsible for this, and we need to create a component for it. So here I go to the code, and here in components I'm going to create a component, and it's going to be check out.view, and this is going to have the template as and we are going to have a div inside it, and there I'm going to put all the code from here. So I'll just cut this all from here, and I'm going to take all this to inside this. Alright, now we need to register this, otherwise we won't be able to use it. So we need to go into app.js, and here I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. This time checkout, and I call that checkout. So for using it, we need to go there in Blade, and here we're gonna call checkout, and it should work. Now we need to run compile, so npm run dev. So I'm just going to compile it. If I go back, right, so it's showing just fine. We refresh, it's loading here. We need to have a script portion. I'm going to add script, and then here we're going to put export default. Inside it I'm going to say data, and this data will return an empty object for now. I'm going to remove the terminal, minimize it for better. Okay, so now, alright, so here we need to have methods, write a method which is going to load all the content. So I say here created, and let's get all the products. So I say here a method get cart items. Alright, and I want to run this when we create it. So here get cart item. Okay, now here the same way we did to work with here, we just gonna do the same way. So I'm just gonna copy this from here and go back to checkout. Now here, if I use await, I pass here sync, and here we want to get checkout. So currently, if we go back here, we have checkout for the page, and for here, what we need to do, we need to change the route. So I have to say here get items. All right, and here we're not passing anything. So whatever we get in response, we're gonna see console, and we pass response inside it. So as we are using Vuejs instead of Laravel, because when you load the page, you can by default pass values for Laravel. But I want to show you in Vuejs, so I'm doing it this way. Now we will get it here. Now let's pass this so that we get the values. I'm gonna pass this method to get. I go here web. Now here I'm gonna copy this and paste here, and I'm going to again copy the route here, and I'm going to change this route to this. Now we need carts items, so here we can go in carts controller, and here you can see basically we can use index method for it, but it is already used. So what I do is go here at the bottom, and I create here public function get cart items for checkout. Alright, so this function explained by its name. You can put any comment if you want to, so we just can have this way. Alright, so here currently I'm going to say return 1 to 3, and I'm going to save this, go here. Now we need to pass this method here in our call. So here we are passing name as well. For now I'm not going to give a name to this one. So name is only required if we want to use it in any of your anchor links. So otherwise you don't need to pass these. So here we have it, and it should get 1 to 3. So let's see. So we go here, and one moment, we need to check. So it is going to run on create. So it should be fine. So, and we already called it here. So we registered it. So only thing we need to make sure is that we ran the, we compiled it. So, okay, like refresh. And here we have the data, and 1 to 3 is coming. So now we can get the data. So we go back here in cart. Now we have query there already. So let's see. So we need very user ID. Currently we were getting the count here, the sum. So I'm just going to copy this query. I'm going to take here, paste here, and I'm going to say here cart items. Alright, and it's going to be this, where user ID is this, some quantity, we don't want that way, we just want where the user ID is this, only get. So we just want to get everything there. So whatever comes, we want to first see, then we will do the calculation, and after that we'll return the value. So that's a DD here, and now let's see. So go back here, refresh, and now it's DDing. So items we have here, This is array of 3, and we have the item quantity here given. So let's do this, let's get it done. So for that, what we need to do, go back to the controller, and we need to loop through this. So here, what we want to do, we're going to say for each, and whenever you for each anything, it's better you always check if there is value. So if is set this value, all right, so that if there is value only, then we perform that operation, and we pass here for each. Then I pass the variable inside it, so cart items as cart item, and here for now I'm going to var dump, and let's see what we get. So we should get the cart item. So all right, so if we go back to the browser here, previously we were getting the values like this. So if I try to get the product ID, we should get it now here straight away. So if I say product underscore ID and save this and refresh, and we get the ID. Now there is one problem here. So if we see here, we have product ID, we have quantity, we have price, we don't have the product name. So here we need to get the product name from the table. So here in carts table, we don't have product name, it is in products table. So we need to define here the relationship, and from there we need to get the names, because we need to display the name here, the particular product is purchasing, and here the total. So here we are using cart, so we can define the relationship in cart model. So I go into models, and there in cart.php, here we are going to define a function, and this is going to be the relationship. So you can add a comment here, relationship with product, and here we say public function product. And what we want to do, we want to return something. So here I'm going to return $this, and then the relationship has many, and I'm going to pass here product class, and the reference is going to be by ID. So product ID, in a cart table it is product underscore ID. All right, so cart can have many products. So cart has many products, and in cart table it is product ID, in products table it is ID. So that's a relationship going to get us the data. Now we need to have it included as well here, so it is on top as well. So make sure you have it, otherwise it's gonna get better. Now if I go back now, currently if we go and scroll down here, we have an empty array, but now we need to get the data. But as we define the relationship, it's not going to fire automatically, so we need to call this very relationship. So for that I go back to carts controller. Here we're going to say with, and in with we pass the relationship name, and here we get the product. Now it should have it. So let's refresh items, and this time we should have, okay, you can see relationship. Now we have product here, and the first is the product ID 2, and we should have the product ID 2. You can see here the detail of product ID 2. Then the second product we have is product ID 3, and the details of product ID 3. So yeah, it is working just fine. So we go back to the code editor. Now here, what we can do, we can get these detail. So firstly, we are getting the product ID. So we want to show the product names here. So let's do that. So for that, what we can do, we simply, I'm going to copy this. So for that, I'm going to say product and then name. This is going to give me product name, the product ID. The same way we need sale price and quantity, sale price, and at last we need the quantity. So quantity. All right. So let's see. So refresh and go back, and we have name doesn't exist, so let's check there. So here we need to create a new array where we are going to get the product detail, product name, and the total. So what I do here, I need to create a variable dollar final data. All right, and here what I'm going to do, each time when we deal with a product like this card item, so we have product ID, so I'm going to say okay, new array, and then we pass here product ID, and then we need to pass some details. So here we will pass some data. Okay, so let's pass data one by one. About this product name, we're going to check about this in a moment. I'm just going to comment it for now. Here what we want to do, so product ID, so each product with the ID going to have the data. So here I'm going to pass name, and for name we are going to get the name from here. So for now I'm going to leave it empty string, and I'm going to copy this and here paste it here again. Here I'm going to say sale underscore price. Okay, so we have sale price, we get that, we paste it here. Then we are also going to copy it again. Here we are going to say total. So total, for total we have sale price and we have quantity. So we just gonna get this, and here we're gonna multiply it with this. So we're gonna get and save it there. So just gonna remove these two. All right, so we get the product ID here, and also the details we need. Now here we need to work with the name, so let's do that. So here we have the var dump, so I'm going to uncomment it. I'm going to remove the name here, and I'm going to check for this first. So what we do, we simply say here if this relation is there, that means we have the name for the product because that is required. So we put it inside condition, then we put it like this. Okay, and then we want to var dump this. All right, let's go back and let's see, refresh. Now we get some data here. To see what is in the data, we say here echo and pray, so that it displays in vertical order so we can see a bit clearly. So here we have array of data and then 0 index, and then we have inside their values, so that's why it's not going straight away. So what we can do here, we can simply say for each product as simply card product, all right, and then we can pass this inside here as a card product, and then we're gonna check if we can access to the name here. So we save this, go back, refresh again. This time you can see we have object and then we have array. So if I the name, so let's get the name here. So as a name, let's see if we can find it out. So we get the name here. That's good. All right. So yeah. So what I do here, what we need to do basically, if I go back and remove this, So we have names and everything, but we don't have the ID. Actually, we do have ID here. Okay, so we have ID. So what we can do, we can compare the ID and then we can get the name. So if I go here, you can see we have ID. So all we need to do here is we say if this product ID is equal to the cart product ID, because we want the detail of that particular product only, then we are going to insert it. So here I'm going to cut this and paste inside it. Alright, I'm going to remove this var dump now. So when this is equal, we want to deal with this, and this time we're going to call name. So we should be having name. So now let's see if our new array is working fine. So I'm gonna we have it set here in new final letter here. So here we just check the new array's data. So I save this, refresh. So you can see here we have the product ID 2, name is this, sale price is showing null now, total 0. So we have the product ID. So let's say here cart. So product ID 2, if I click on it, it is this product. So if I go back here, 2 is the same product. I made a mistake here. If we go to database, we have price here. So I called here field sale price. So there's no field sale price in cart. So that's why it is giving us a problem. So here we need to remove it and make it price. And this time we should have things fine. So go back, refresh, go back there, so you can see that we have the total showing up here. So if what I do here, I'm going to take out the one tab and out here. Just gonna open this there. Alright, so sorry, we need to check here actually. So inspect, refresh here, items. So if I go side by side, you can see here. So we have 842, 3 quantity, and 3 times is something like 2500. Then we have 860, 685, which is 1, so total is this. And then we have 666, which is 1 quantity, so total is this. So yeah, it's doing the calculation, and this is the data we need. So, and what we can do, we can also, for ease, for handling it easily, I'm going to copy here one more time, and also going to pass the ID inside as well, so if in case we need to access it that way. So now if I go back here, refresh, we should have all the data along with ID. So we do ID there as well, ID here as well. So ID, name, sale price, total. Okay, great. Now let's do this, let's display this. And another thing, we need to show the quantity as well, because in the cards you generally see the quantity, so now we need to get the quantity too, realized. So we're just going to copy that and paste here, and I'm going to pass quantity here and here, and refresh. It should be fine. So quantity is null, and that's the issue again. Why is that? Let's check it. Sorry. So this is what we need. Refresh. Yeah, now do we have the quantity? 111. Okay. Now let's do this. Now let's return this data. I go here, and here we have this array. So I remove the DD, and instead of returning this, we're gonna return response JSON, and here we are going to pass the array that we have. So I'm going to pass here $. Alright, now if I refresh again and go in console log, we have data in console data. Now it's showing up here like this. Now we can work with this data. So let's do that. So we go back to the component this time. So code editor, I go to checkout.vue. So this is the console log we are working with currently. So what I'm going to do, so what we need to do basically, we need to get here items as a variable. I'm going to call it empty array, and here I'm going to say this dot items is equal to response dot data. Now to see it is assigning correctly, we just copy this, paste in here, save it, and update. And if it is working fine, then we can loop through. Now here, refresh, console log, and we are getting the values. You can see here, object, and each object has value. That's perfect. So let's go back here. Now we need to loop through this. So we have items. So here, we need to first, I'm going to show it here. So select your hosting plan, then where it says. So here we say products in your cart, something like that. Now here we have 3. We don't want 3, so we need 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here. So I'm gonna remove these 2, and here I'm gonna expand this. Now here I'm going to run v4 loop in Vue.js. I'm gonna pass items. So here I'm gonna say item in items. Now when we use loop like this, we need to pass a key. Pass key is equal to item.id. So we have ID in item, so that's gonna solve the problem here. Now we need to pass the name. So here, for passing the name, we need to put curly braces like this, then item. Now we are getting name as, let's see here. So we are getting name, quantity, sale price, total. So that's what we're gonna do. So it's gonna be dot name. All right. Now here we are going to show the name here, total. So here we're gonna copy this, and we just show here like this. And this is going to be, we should show here quantity. So we say here quantity, and that's what we're going to pass as well. So simply quantity, and we need sale price. So for sale price, I'm just gonna pass here like this. So if this one is here, so we simply copy this, and here price is better, I think. In here it's going to be price. All right. Now for seeing the output, we need to compile it. So let's compile it, and let's see how it looks. No errors. Go back, refresh, and we have product name, quantity, and I made a mistake again. I'm calling it price, but it was not price. It is sale underscore price. So that's why it's not showing there. So if we say here it's the sale underscore price, then it's to pass that here. Now it should show the price to us. So we are telling the user you have these products, 3 products, product in your cart, quantity 1, quantity 3, quantity 1. Now this is the price for each. And here we need to make it total. So let's do that. So I go back. Now for this, what we need to do, there is the issue. We are looping through with this div, and this auto summary is another div. Alright, so we need to re-loop it, I think. So we can loop through here as well, and this time we will be calculating. So let's do that. So I'm going to copy this loop. And again, I go here. So auto summary is this kind of widget that is covering complete div. And here we have 3. So auto summary, and we have the website essential. We don't need this. And then we have total. And total is something we need. So now we need to loop through this portion. So we pause here the loop, and item, so I call it summary item, and I'm going to copy these as here too. Now here we need to pause here the total. So we want to show the user what exactly is how it is working. So it's going to quantity into sale. So I'm going to do it that way. So quantity, and that's you put it like this. You put this dot quantity, and then X price. Now what we can do here, we can break it so it's easy to read. So Q stands for quantity, P stands for price, and here, okay, so we paste it this way. This becomes price. Okay, I have it already there. Okay, so here is going to be the total. So just put, so here it's going to be 1 month is below, so we need to pause it here. So it's going to be equal, and we are getting this value as total, so I'm going to pause it as total. Alright, so it's going to show it like that. So that's good. Let's update and let's see how it works. No errors, refresh. Okay, so we are saying it's not looking that great, but we have here, so what we can do, we can put this quantity and product here in the bottom and the total on the top. So here, let's do that. So I go back to the code editor, and I'm gonna cut this where it says 1 month. I'm gonna put it here. Quantity, and that's all right. So yeah, it should be fine this time. And the price, so it was sale price again. I had the price, sorry about that. So I copy the sale price and paste here. Update this, refresh. Alright, so price this, quantity 1, total here, total here, total here. Now we also need it says personal, we can pass the name. So personal, we can pass this. Let's try this, how it looks. So it's a name here simply. Okay, looks good. Now we can calculate total here, or also we can calculate here as well because we are already dealing with it. So let's do this. Let's calculate here. So what we do, we going to pause here, and just after this, I'm gonna say total, using total here. So this is going to have the total amount, and what total amount going to be? We have this. So we need to get a variable here. So it's going to be amount. It is going to be 0. You know what we want to do? We're gonna say here amount dollar amount plus equal this, and whatever dollar amount becomes, and we wanna pass in there. So, and let's see what happens actually. So if I go here and refresh, and now if we go item here and see here, we have the total 3877. Now let's see, open the calculator, and we have the first sale price a total 685, then we have 2526, and at last we have 666, and which is 3877. That's what we are getting here. So that's perfect. As we are getting the value, we can simply show this value here so that the user can process. So we also need to remove this, and in object this time we have item total amount straight away. So if we're passing data straight away, so to display the total, we can say items.total. So here I'm gonna say. Now the other thing is, why we have this. So we need to put a check here. So it's going to be this we name. So what we want to do here, be if, and we want to pass this. So if this name is present, and then show the detail. So for here, if we're in this, we don't have name, so it shouldn't show, and we are passing it here, so it should work. There is no other, and then we have the total. Yeah, so let's refresh. It's working now. So we have the name, total, and the total. Now let's deal with the, and I didn't notice it's the same thing happening there as well. So we correct that as well as we create the button. So let's do that. So here, what we want to do, just the same way, summary name. So here we added this, and here we have planned data. So item name, if we have item name, so we pass here. We if name, and the other thing we want to do now is the button. So let's do that. So here it's going to be in place, and the button inside it, plus HR on top. So it should be fine. And class, I'm gonna add text right, and it should separate it. And yeah, it's looking better. Alright guys, at this point we need to take the address from the user so that we can make the payment. So for that I'm going to go into Boot Snippets website, and here we have the HTML, and this is the address form, and then we have the card details form here. So to save time, I'm just going to copy this. So what we can do, we simply get this div here. I'm going to copy this and go into our component, and here after this box div, I'm going to add it here. Now on top of this, here we have the colon, the 6, and all of this is going to make it small, so I'm going to pass class card here, and now it will look fine. So you can see that it is totally fine here now. So I'm just gonna indent it a bit, so it is now inside the call LG8. Now also we need some CSS here, so I can copy Control All from here, and I go back to component, and there in checkout.blade we can add CSS. So here we can pass the CSS for address and payment form. So here we can add the CSS, and yeah, this CSS will make it look better. So let's save this. Now I'm going to compile it, and let's compile, let's see how it looks. So let's go back here. Now I'm going to refresh. So here we have the products, and here we have the address form and the payment. We can improve the designing, and I will do that as well, but for now what we need to do, we need to get the user detail so that we can process the order. So I'm going to remove this place order button from here because we don't need here. All we need is that once user provides these details and then click this place order, then we go to the Stripe and charge the user. I'm going to move this inside here so it will look a bit better. So just simply gonna go here, and I'm going to remove this card class. I'm going to remove this panel heading, and I'm going to just gonna cut this, and I'm gonna go this div and paste right here. All right, now here we compile. Now go here, and we have shipping address details looking a bit better. And for the secure payment, we can add some spacing there as well. So simply search here, secure payment. It's here. It's panel heading. I'm going to change it to let's say I'm going to pause here in HR and compile. Now we refresh the page here, and it's a bit better. So we can even pass some spacing there. So if you want to be over here, we can possibly be over here. We compile. Refresh. Now it's a bit better. Now let's get the details. So what I want to do first, I want to create a function that is going to deal with this detail. So we need to have the, so simply what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll down, and here I'm going to get the function, and this is going to be get address, or we can better say user address. All right, and we need user details. So to make it Vuejs ready, we need to put variables according to Vuejs. So let's do that. So here we have the first name. Now we need to use vModel in this case, so we're gonna use that vModel, and we're gonna call it first name. Then we need vModel for last name. We're gonna pass here. It's gonna be last name. Then we have address. Here we want to check for address, so it's gonna be address simply. Then we need city. All right, city is coming from input. And here we want to pass city. Then we want to pass state. And here we're going to pass state. Now after that we have zip code. So we say zip code. All right, so that much information is enough for now. Let's add the phone and email as well. So I pass this, and I call it phone. And at last, vModel for email. So it's going to be email. All right. So So now we need to check it. So let's go here. All right, so we need to put all these variables one by one here. So first name, going to be empty by default. Then we have last name, empty by default, and then we have email, we have phone, and what else? So we added here. Did I collapse this panel? And we have this. We have address, city, state. So let's get that. So we have. All right, and let's see what else for address. It's an input asking address. Okay, then city, then state, then zip code, and then phone and email. Okay, all the zip codes here. And then, all right, so here, address, city, state, then zip code. Okay, now we have these, so we can validate these as well. So I'm not going to go in deep validation in this video. So I'm just going to check if user providing first name and address, and if it is providing, we are going to process. So let's do that way. So simply going to say if now, so here this dot, it's going to be first name is not equal to this, and now we can do any type of validation here, make it more complex, check for characters, check for length and everything, but that is going to take more time and going to make this video long. So we will do that to improve it, but for now I'm just going to do it this way. So these two things are ready. That means we have user address details. Then we want to next go into the secure payment. Here we want these three fields. All right, so let's do that. And here what I'm going to do, I also want to pass the variables there. So first of all, let's check if our form is working. So this method is going to be called when we click place order. So we go and see where this place order is. It is right here. I'm going to pass a BR tag there, and here in place order we're gonna pass we on click dot prevent, and the function goes right there. All right, so it should work. So here, if these things are present, all we need to do for now is alert. So alert username. All right, so if this is doing it, that means we are working, things are working for us. So let's make it work. So compile it, and then we go and refresh. And all right, so if, okay, so we can inspect, our form is lost now. So we go here, and it says that property method last name is not defined on instant, but all right, let's go last name. And here, okay, so there. I'm just gonna copy this now, and I'm gonna pass it here, and this is going to be country. All right, so now here, we're gonna pass country, and we can use the country as well. I haven't removed this place order, so we need to remove this one. So I'm gonna cut this from here, going to remove this completely, and then we will be left with the place order. If I search here, place, so we have here, and this is the one where it should fire. So here, I'm gonna pass that function. So now it should go and work. So now then recompile, and then we go back and refresh, and we can pass these fields. So I'll pass here any data, just random data, and here city, state, pin. Now let's hit place order. We have the first name. All right, so it's getting it. So same way we can get the card detail, and it's going to be card number. Then we're gonna pass the V model for CVV. So I'm gonna pass it here, just like that. I'm gonna call it CVV. Here for select, we're gonna call, this is the month, so month. Then we have here year, and year. Basically we are getting the expiration date. So here we can get that. So we can say expiration month. And same way expiration year. And it's here. So simply pass here remodel card type. Alright, let's add these. So we're gonna pass these here. So it's gonna be card type, empty string. Then we have expiration month, empty string, and then expiration year. It is empty string as well. And the other thing was CVV. So CVV card number. I hope this was it. So here, and this dot card number, and this dot CVV. If this is, then we say process payment. Okay, so here, else, what do we want to do? We want to just for now, if you remember, we use the adder, so add to cart here, here. So the same thing we can use there too. So I'm just going to copy this from here, and I'm going to pass here. So the message is going to be changed, and this is going to be user info incomplete. Alright, so it should work. I'm going to save this, go back there, and let's see what happens. So first, refresh. So if I go straight away and simply hit it, it says user information incomplete. So let me make it here. So so I'm going to hit it and it's there. So now, and we need to provide the information for that. We need to process it. So here we are going to again use the axios the way we used here at to card. So the same way, I'm going to copy here, and I'm going to paste here. Alright, now here what we're going to say? We're going to say process user payment. So this is going to be the route. It's going to be post. I'm going to make it a sync. And the data we need to pass, that's something that's going to be huge here. So let's do that. So let's get the data. So simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy everything from here. Simply like that. Just to content responsive. Just gonna get this. So this is going to be first name. This is going to be last, just like that. So all I'm doing, double clicking on it and then adding this single quote because this information we need. Alright, and now we need to have here this dot. So just gonna so we can do Control D to select these all and put them like this. Now after this we can put these, so this dot first name and this dot last number. So yeah, so we have all this detail we are passing, and the response that we're gonna get, we can a console log here. So simply say console.log the response.data. Alright, let's create this route. So I just copy this from here, go into the web.blade here. I'm just gonna paste it here first, then I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste here. Now we can replace with our route right there. Now we want to post data, so it's going to be post request, and it is going to be through cart, and we want to make a payment. So I say process payment method. So we're going to create this method. So let's do that. I save this, go to the controller. Now here we don't have this method, so here I'm simply going to go at the bottom here. I'm going to create it, public function process payment. Alright, and it's going to get all data using request. So let's see if we are getting the data or not. So I simply say dd, and here $request. And I'm gonna say here all. The point is to see if we are getting data or not. So let's do that. So here everything is done. So we are passing data from here, and yeah, waiting for the response. So here in cart we are just doing it. So now first I want to run the npm run dev. And after that we're going to check it. So npm run dev, and then we go to the browser. Now what we need to do, we need to fill the information here. First we need to log in. Okay, we have this, it's redirecting to /home. Let's quickly fix this. This is basically happening in the Auth controller. If you go here, and so we are logging in, and if we go here in this file, it is here route service home. It is redirecting to. So what we can do go for this file. It is inside app providers, route service provider. So let's go there. So app providers, route service provider, it's home here. So if we want to redirect user to home page, we just pass / here. So that should fix it. So alright, let's log in, and you can see now it is redirecting to a home page. So it's correct. And refresh. Now if you face some issue, you can once you change it to home, you simply go into network, storage, and then cache storage, and there whatever data you see, just remove it and then log in again. So it's now working for us here. So we have cart, and yeah, so we go to there, and here let's deal with the address. So put address here as just random text for now, and say state zip. So we just want some information there. Email. Now we have card type. I say Visa. We need number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's 16. So it's CVV 1 to 3. Expiration 9 year. That's 25, and let's set the placeholder. Okay, so if I go here, we have payment, and here we're getting the data. So let's see if we're getting all. So we are passing data from our component. So here, checkout component. So all the wheels are here. So if I match it with this, we have first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code, email, phone, country, contact 5, and we have expiration month, expiration year, CVV, and card number. Alright, now this is the time. If we have the data, we can process the payment. So let's do that. So for that, what we need to do, so let's go to the controller. We have the cards controller here, and the payment method is here. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the values to variables. So here, as we have it, we're just going to copy this, and that's going to help us do things quickly. So just going to do it this way. Alright, so here, what I say dollar first name, so dollar request, and then get, and inside get we pass this. Alright, so we need to just paste this, and let me change this. Alright, I delete this as well as the DD, we don't need it anymore. Save this. Now what we need to do, we need to go to a site package, and we click here. Now here we have installation, and we need to include this in composer.json. So let's go there. So simply I'm going to go there, and we're going to we go back to the documentation. So it says in require array. Okay, so this is the require array. Put comma here and put this here, right there, like that. Okay, once this is done, we need to run composer install. So yeah, we can do that. So just cross this, and here I run composer install. Okay. Okay, so we need to run composer update. I'm just gonna do that in that case. So now it is adding it. So you can see here it added it. So we have it. And now once we have it, so for integration we need to go here, config app, and we need to add this in the provider. So let's do that. So config app.php. So let's go there. So it's config app.php, and here they said in providers, right? So providers are here, and here we can add the provider. You can paste here. All right. So I save this, and what else we need? Aliases. So here, so that we can use this word for class calling. So here simply I'm going to add at the bottom, just after review, like this. Okay, and save this. So we just saved it. So yeah, now we can use it. So let's see how to deal with it. So if I go back to code, I'm going to cross this, and when you use new add new classes, it's better. If you don't want to face any problem, just run composer dump auto load. However, it is not required every time, but just to be safe side. So I can do clear here. Now what we need to do here, we are getting this data, and for now I'm not going to validate it. I'm just straight away going to process the payment, and later we will add the validation. So here we're gonna process payment. Okay, so for that we need to go to another site, which is I believe you know, Stripe. Okay, so stripe.com. Now you need to log in. So I'm going to go into the dashboard. Once you log in, you will be here, test data. Then you go into payments, and there you are going to get the API key. That is what we need. You have developer options here. So here when you click, you get the API keys from here. So if you click here, you have publishable key here, and you have reveal test key here. So this key we need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this key. Okay, continue. And it shows the key. We just copy the key by clicking here. Now we go here in our project. Here, what we can do, we simply go in the env file, and in env file, I'm going to say secret. All right, and it equals to. I'm going to pass. Okay, we haven't copied it, so click. Yeah, now just copy it. So just copy and paste here. All right, now we will be using it in a moment. So yeah, that's it for now. Now in our main package side, we are done. We have the API key, that is fine. Now let's deal with the payment. So what we need to do. So here we go back to code editor, and here we need to call the class. So to call the class, we need to say stripe, and then we say here make, and inside make we are going to pass the env function, and it is going to get the parameter, and that parameter is going to be the name of this stripe key or secret. So I'm going to pass the key. I save it, copy this, close this file, pass there. Alright, so it's going to get the value from there. I'm going to call it stripe here, and then we can forward the steps. Now what we need to do here, first of all, we need to generate a token. So for that here, I'm going to say $token equals $stripe, and here we have functions from Stripe, so it's going to be tokens. All right, and then it is going to be create. All right, and inside create, what we need to do, we need to pass an array. So array of values this time, and these values going to be the card details. So here, whatever value we're getting, we're gonna pass here. So here first is number. All right. So and then we have to pass expiry month. So this goes like this. Then we have expiry underscore year. The expiration month. And pass here $this, and then we have CVV that goes here, expiration year, we're gonna pause it here. All right, and the first and last is number, so card number is here, so let's get that. And that goes here. All right, so this should create a token for us, and let's see what happens. So if I dd here $token, I need to make sure we have Stripe included, so because I'm using the class here. So on top, I just simply say use Stripe. Alright, so it's going to get the access to it. Now we're passing the card details here. We need to change one thing. It's an array and it's a card detail. So as it is a card detail, we can put inside a card. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to say that card detail like this, and then I'm going to pass here. All right, now it says unexpected. Okay, I think it's also good as an array. So I'm just gonna cut this and paste like that. All right, so now we don't have any error. It should give us the token. So okay, let's do that. So I go back here, and now let's get the So we have all the data already pre-filled. So what I do simply, I'm going to click place order, and we get okay, CVC. It again, and your card number is incorrect. Alright, so if you follow the documentation here, so if I open the link here, they're suggesting this number for testing, so I'm just going to copy this for now, and I'm going to paste in our code. So what I do is simply paste here. Alright, and hit now, and this time we get the data. So we have ID, which is a token, it's object token, and then further details here. Alright, now we can use this detail to work further, so let's do that. So what we need to do here, if we have the token ID, we're going to check here. Okay, so if we say if, so we need to return error as well. So here if I say if not, $token ID, because we just saw there was ID. So here we're going to say session flush. Alright, and we're going to say header, and then the header going to be Stripe token generation failed, something like that, and then we simply say return. Now this process, if we pass this, if we get the token, so here it is, so if we get the token, the next thing is we need to register the customer. What we need to do, we need to create a customer, so we say create a customer, and like for the record it is in Stripe. So here we say $Stripe is equal to $customer it's going to be, because $Stripe is going to be going to use, so it's $Stripe, and then customers, and then create. Alright, now here again we need to pass an array, semicolon after this, inside of that pass an array. This time we don't need to put inside conv or something like that, or use or anything, we simply pass the values. So we hit pass here, name. Now in our case, our name is coming first name and last name, so we just need to put it like that. So here, first name, and then dot, we put here last name. Alright, then comma. Similarly, second is email. Now for that we have $email. So yeah, then we need further is phone, and here $phone. Then we have address. Now address we need to provide a bit differently. Here we are going to pass line 1, and that's going to be $address that we have, because we have postcode city, so all of that goes here, so it's going to be postal underscore code. And this is all in the documentation of Stripe, so you can check there if you have any doubt. And currently I'm just using the local variables, I'm not creating the class variable. We can do that to improve it, but for now I just want to make this payment work for now, and later on we will improve it. So here our postcode, we have the zip code. I'm just going to copy that from there, paste here. After that we have city, and $city. Then we have state, $state, and then the country, and that's the dollar country. And let me see if I have all these variables the same way. We have state, city, we have country, and yeah, all is fine. So it should be fine. Alright, now after address we have shipping. This is the info we provide here. So you can skip as well, but I just wanted to demonstrate everything is in the documentation. So here I'm going to pass name again, or what I do simply copy the name from here. Alright, and then here we pass address. So address goes inside shipping, so it's going to be like that. Okay, that's easy. Now here we want to say source, and the source is something we need to pass $token ID like this. Okay, so it is going to generate a customer for us, and once this is done, we're just going to generate a customer ID. So once we have customer ID, we are going to charge the user. So here we put code for charging the user via client in Stripe. So here what we need to say, we say $charge is equal to $stripe again, and we use Stripe function charges. We pass here create, and again create takes an array, and here the first value is customer. Alright, and if this code worked successfully, we're gonna get a customer. So it's gonna be $customer, and there we have the ID for that customer. Once that is done, second thing, what currency we want to use for payment. So we want to use here USD, so simply USD. Alright, then there's going to be amount. Now we need to check that. Let's put here 1 for now, and then we put here description. Alright, and description going to be the order details. So payment for order. Okay, just like that. So we need to check the amount here. For currently, when I process payment here, we are not passing amount, and that is a missing thing, so we need to correct that. So here we got some error, and it's here, semicolon goes here. Okay, it's fine now. Now let's get the amount as well. So what we do for amount, I go back to the checkout, and here in the form, so we are passing everything from here. So what I can do is simply, as we have the data stored here, items.total amount, we can simply get that. So it's going to be like total, and it's going to be this way. Okay, so we can call it, it's better to call it amount, so that's going to be clear. So it's going to be amount, that's going to be passed as well now. Now we'll go here. Now we need to catch the amount as well, so just copy this, and here we pass amount, and that goes here, amount, and this variable we need to pass there. So that goes right there. Alright, so yeah, it should be fine, and let's see what happens. So here we go, and here put DD, $charge, and let's save it. Now we have everything again here as we did DD previously, so I'm gonna hit place order. We get error undefined source, and this error we got source. I made a mistake here. It should be a string in quotes. Sorry about that. Let's try again. Place order. Okay. One. Okay, I had corrected here, but we also have there too. So yeah, now hit it. Missing required parameter amount. Okay, so we have the amount going here, and that's fine. But if I go back to checkout here, I made a mistake. So if you see, I call items. Now we can't access items like this because items is like these items. So we need to pass it like that. So these items top total, and now it should work. And we need to update as well. npm run dev, otherwise it won't take effect. And now it is compiled. Now here we need to refresh, but before that I'm going to copy the card number because we need to use the same one for testing. So here, alright, let's put the demo content, and here address, put name as Roger, city, state, zip code, phone number, email, test@gmail.com, card type Visa, card number CVV 1 to 3. Now let's put the expiration month and year and then hit. Now we go here. This time it took time, and now it gave us the response we have. And if I go back to code in the controller, this time it is happening at the end for chart. So if I go back to Stripe here and refresh, and we have a payment. You can see a 3877 succeeded payment for order, and we have details for it here. As you expect, all is showing up here. Okay, so this is a test account, so it's showing here like this. And if you use for a real account, it will work just the same way. For that, you need to use the API key for your real account, and we are doing for test. So yeah, it's successful. So here, if I go back and here, so here we have an ID, okay, and it's charge and then ID. So what we can do also, if I scroll down, there should be more data here. Okay, we also have status, so we can check for that too. So alright, let's do this. So what do we do here? We're gonna get the status. So here we simply say if $charge and then is status is equal to whatever the status we got here, succeeded. We're gonna pause it here, and then we want to remove this. We don't need it here, or we can say else, and then here we can throw the error. So for now I'm just gonna DT $charge for now. Alright, but here we need to work with our order. So what do we need to do? So we need to return some data that is going to unset everything from the so let's do that. What do we do? So if I go to database, so here we open the localhost /php myadmin. Alright, so we have Laravel shop here, and we have cart here, right? So currently we have this, a user created an order, and this is the total what the user is getting. So what we want to do, we want to delete everything from here for this user, and also we want to add a new table where we want to get the processing, so because we received the payment. So what we want to do here, we want to capture the details from Stripe. So what details we can get? So for that we have already DD there, so we can use that. So if I go back there, so for status we are checking. After that we are also checking, we are getting ID, so we can get the customer ID. So here I simply say $customer ID, and that's going to be here like ID. So this is going to be for your record, and it is from Stripe, so I'm gonna add Stripe here. Also we need amount, so what amount we charged, so it's gonna be amount received. And simply I'm gonna say $charge and pause this. Now further we have address details if you want to capture that. We have created a currency, so any detail you want to store you can get here. So basically guys, so before here when we get the success for getting the charge from user, we need to save it in a processing table, and we need some details before doing that. We need the order detail, so that what products user purchased. So currently we are only getting the user address, username, and the user card details. So also we need to get users order detail. So if I go back to the checkout.vu file, we have here these items, and that is the one we are looping through and showing up here. I removed one item from here for now, and so we have two items now, so we can see the difference. We have 13, 15, 1 here as total. So these items we can fetch as well. So what we do, we simply get these items, and I'm going to pass it as well. I'm going to call it order, and so that we can have the order detail in our controller. So if I go back now here in cart, so when we get the user card details as well as the name and address, we also get the order detail. So we can simply get order detail like this. So I'm gonna call here order, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pass here. So we can check this. So first I'm gonna DD here, so we see what details we get, so that we can when we save in processing table, we save the order detail as well. So we go back here, and here there needs to have a space here. Let's quickly add that too. And check out view. Here we have total, and here we have place order. So just gonna pause here and one HR on top. That would look a bit better. So let's go back here for now. Let's gonna hit this, and we go to the payment, and we have null. Okay, that's the issue. Let's go back here. Okay, so we need to update it because we are passing these items here, but we haven't recompiled this, so it is null. So npm run dev, or you can run npm run watch in case you don't want to run it again and again, but I prefer this way. So when you want to, only then you run it. So I'm gonna copy the card number because that is for testing purpose only. So here, country, just gonna pause here some enter random text for testing. It's address, city, state, phone number, email, card type, Visa, card number, days 1 to 3, month, any month is fine, and we have place order, hit there, now we have the details here, so you can see that we have name of the product, quantity, and that's good. So what we need to do now here, simply in the controller, I'm gonna loop through it. So I say orders instead of order, and I'm gonna say for each, and then I'm gonna say $orders as $order. And here what I want to do, I want to say, because when we loop through here, it will go inside this here, so we can get the ID, so product ID. So here it's going to be $orders array. So this is the array where we're going to have the orders, and you're going to pass everything inside it. So here we say $orders array, and here I'm going to pass the product ID, so $order, like this. We have ID inside it, so I think it's an array. We need to access it like an array. So okay, so it is going to pass the ID inside array, and then we can check for this if we have the, so if I put comma and pass the second, so we can check that both values. So let's see that. So we go back here and hit place order. Now you can see we have here, okay, we also passing null, so here we can check if order ID. So if order ID, only then we need to pass it inside it. And also another thing is we need to know that what order is what quantity, because otherwise how we gonna process the order, because it's just passing order ID. So here what I'm gonna do, I'm again gonna say the simply order ID like this, so for each order, and then we gonna pass the order underscore ID like this, and then gonna copy and gonna paste this, and this is going to be the quantity, and the same thing we need to pass here. Or you can even, if you don't want to do this, you simply can pass the orders straight away. So in my case I'm just gonna pass this way, so we only need two things, so we only pass two things. So here order ID quantity 1, order ID 3, quantity 1. So if that's the all we need. Now we can, if want to pass it in a string, so we can do this. So we can say here JSON and encode. Alright, so if I do this, it becomes in a string. So here hit this, and now it's a string. So what we want to do, we want to pass this, and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna remove this. Alright, so we have here our data ready, and yeah, so here we can getting order details, and here I'm gonna, where we are getting the order, I'm going to pass this like that. Now currently we are not dealing with processing, so let's do that. I'm going to clear the screen here, and then we're gonna create, we need to create the model, controller, and migration. So let's do that. So PHP artisan make model, and spelling should be correct. I call it processing, and we need migration as well. So let's do that. So we have migration. Now also we need a controller. So here controller, and then it's going to be processings controller. So here I'm going to pass -- resource and hit this. It creates the controller. Okay, Now let's go there and open this file. So processing controller is here, and let's first create the database table. So for that we go database and their migration, and we have the processing table here. Let's add the fields, what fields we need. So we need here the details, what order we are getting. So here, table. First thing first, we are getting a client. So I want to have the client underscore name. Alright. Then we need the client underscore address. You can have any details here, whatever you prefer. So then we also want is the order underscore details, the details we just collected, and then the amount paid. So what amount user paid, amount, and also currency if you want to save that. And I think that's the only thing we need. So we have order details already, amount paid, currency. Yeah, that's I think enough. So here we say save this file. The PHP artisan migrate. It creates the table. We go in table here, processings, and we have the table. Okay, so let's do this. What do we need to do now? I can cross this, and we're gonna save this data. So for that, I call the processing model, and we wanna create a record. Okay, so here we need to include it on top, and otherwise it won't work. So simply copy this. I'm gonna paste here, and it's gonna be processing. All right. So we have processing here. So what details we need? We need client name. So do we have that data? Let's see. Client underscore name, and then we need client underscore address, and then we need order details. Now some people prefer to put only the client ID and then their separate table for all the details for that particular client. That can be done too, it's totally up to you. And I noticed I have the wrong spelling there, so it's currency. It should be like this, so let's correct that. We can change here currency and save. Now it's correct. And we can also update our migration file. So in the migration here, okay, cross this. However, we're not going to run the migration again, we correct it directly. But in case you just corrected the migration and you want to run it again, all you need to do, you need to go in the operations, and you need to delete table. So you will be deleting the table. Then you go in migrations. There you will see your migration. You need to delete from here, and then you can run the migration again. So here, now we're back in processing table. Now here, what we want to do, we want to parse these data. All right, we have the order detail. I'm gonna cut this from here, and it goes right here. All right, it's a string, so it just need to go inside just without any problem. Now we need the other details. So we have, no, we don't, let's see what we get here. So what I'm gonna do, all right, so we need the client name. We have client name here, and we're just gonna copy this as these variables are set in this function. So we will be able to get the detail just without any problem. So yeah, simply gonna copy this right here, comma, then I have client address. Client address is here. Now what we want to do, so I'm gonna get this, and where we are doing it, we need to encode it as well. So I'm just gonna paste here. Now here I'm gonna remove this, so we have array like this, and I'm going to say JSON encode. So the client address is going to be encoded as well. So I'm just gonna cut this from here, and similarly address goes here. So it is going to be string, and it is going to be inserted. Then we have amount, we are getting amount, so we have amount here as well. We can use our local variable as well, so let's use that. Alright, at last we have currency. So in the payment here we can check the currency if you want to. So here we have currency coming here actually, because here we are passing it in just like this, so we can't use it. So we need to get it from the charge variable. So simply gonna copy this, and here we wanna call the property that we have here coming, so currency. So it's a string, it will go there, it is going to be fine. Alright, so it is going to create a record for us. So it's going to be $processing details for now. Now if we have this, that means we can empty the cart. So here we say, for now let's see if it creates its own thing. So if, and we do something here. So for, okay, I save this and go back here, and then I'm gonna place order, and we have client underscore name, fillable property, allow mass assignment. So okay, so in the models we added the fillable, but we just created the model for processing, but we didn't add anything in as fillable there, so we need to do that. So copy this from here just to save time, and pass fillable, and if you want to fill the values we simply pass all the fields. So okay, so it's going to be client underscore name, then we have client address. Alright, then we have order details, and we have amount and currency, and also we need created underscore add. Okay, it should be fine now. So let's go back and see. So go here and hit again. So it goes through to, we have 200 this time, and let's see the table and processing. Yeah, we have the detail. You can see here we have client address, it's coming everything since it is a string. So you have the line 1, postal code, city, state, country. We have order detail, amount, USD, graded, and the name. So yeah. Now once we have this, so if I go back to the cart, right, we have here user ID, and here we need to do one thing, because we need a client ID as well. Okay, so we need to add another field, and I'm going to show you how you can add another field in existing table. So we are not going to use the same migration file, we are going to add another file. So in processing table we need a user ID or client ID. Alright, so let's go in processing table. So we need a client ID. So for that I'm going to go here, clear the screen. Here we're going to say PHP artisan make, and there's going to be migration, and I'm going to say add underscore client underscore ID, and we can say the table name. So the table name is processing, so processings table. All right, so it's going to create this migration. So let's go to this migration file. It's here. Now in the up function we need to pass schema, so it's going to be this way, and we want to say table name, and in table name we want to pass the table name, so we are going to call here processings, and then we want to run a function, and this function we pass $table. All right, and here we want to say which field we are talking about. So here we're going to say okay $table, and we want to say it's going to be, so it's going to be anything you want to store, integer or anything. So for now we want integer, as it's going to be ID, and the name going to be client ID. All right, so the same way we need to copy this and going down, and the only thing changes here is the drop, and it's going to be column. So if something goes wrong, remove this column. So we needed to make sure it's there. Now what we need to do, we need to run this migration. So if I say here, now another thing we can do here, we are saying that add this field, but if you see here, it's going to add it at the end. So if you want to say that add it after client underscore name, you simply pass here on the thing, you simply say after, and then you pass client underscore name. So it's going to add there. So let's pass the PHP artisan migrate. It adds there. Let's go back. So we have client underscore ID 0. All right, great. So what we want to do now we need to insert this value. So cross this, and where we were storing it, so I'm going to close this processing model, and here we were inserting it. So here client ID from Auth, so that because user is logged in, so then user can order. So we simply say here client ID, and then it's going to be, we're going to remove this Auth user ID. Alright, so it's going to insert this, and that's what we want. So let's do this. I'm gonna go here and I'm going to empty this, and this time we're gonna hit it again. Okay, client doesn't have default value. Clear screen PHP artisan optimize clear. This is going to clear the cache. You can see here it's clear the cache. So this is the command. Now what we need to do, we need to refresh the page and try again. So I'm going to copy this, refresh. If I go back here, there's no record. Let's go here. Just put the data render. Okay, place order. Go there. I think I haven't added in the fillable, so check there as well. So let's go back in code and processing model, and there it added in fillable because we didn't add it before. So client underscore ID. So now it should be fine. I'm gonna clear the cache one more time. Go back here, hit it. Okay, we have 200. Go back here, browse. Alright, great. We have the client ID this time. So it was fillable, but that was causing the issue. Now we have here this. So what we can do, as you have this, so here, clear the cart. after payment successful. So here simply cart var user underscore ID. So when you use this again and again, you can put it in a variable. So I'm gonna say a $client ID equals this. I'm gonna get this variable and I'm gonna paste it here, as well as I'm gonna paste it here, and then I'm gonna say simply delete, and it is going to delete the record from the cart. Alright, so let's do that. So go back here, place order. So 200. We have here again, go in cart, there is nothing, so cart is empty. And now what we can do also, we can redirect user to homepage. Alright, so let's redirect the user. So we have cart getting deleted here. We can say here return, and I'm gonna pass array. I say here message, and then I'm going to pass here order completed successfully. Alright, the similar way we can pass a return statement here, and this time it's going to be the order failed with our contact support, something like that. Alright, now here this is going to be returned once it does. So what we do basically, this function is happening when we're clicking on the place order, and that is happening inside checkout. So I go back here, we have checkout component. Now here, this is the response. So now we need to check, basically we need to show a success message to here. I'm going to put this, so it's going to go like this. Now instead of E, it is going to be S for success, A is for error, and here we are going to check, so what we're going to do, we're going to say response.data. Basically we can do it this way. So if I say if response.data.message, so we can do this to differentiate between success message or error. We can say here success, and here we can say error. So if something goes wrong, this will return, and we need to pass it as value and key. So here it's gonna be like this. Okay, so here we check the key there. So here if message is equal to success, then we want to do show this. Now basically not like this, we want here message. If we have message, then it's going to be success, or we can say else. Otherwise, if it is not success, that means it's not, it is error in that case. So we can pass here error, and we need to get this. Let me check one more time here. So this is going to be the key, and this is here we are going to call .success. The same way we're going to copy this time, and we're going to pass here. Now key here is going to be error. Alright, so if it is error, it's going to give error. If it is success, it's going to give success. And we need to redirect as well. So currently it is not going to redirect. So here we can say here basically, so window dot location dot href, and I want to say redirect home. I'm going to add set timeout, pass here a wait of 500 milliseconds, and then I'm gonna redirect. Now we are in Vue file, so we need to recompile and pm run dev. Let's see what happens. So it compiles. All right, now let's go to home page. So we don't have any product currently. If I go to the processing, we have nothing there. Cart is empty as well. So let's add product. So I add this product here. Go to cart. Now we have cart here. So let's add the data. Hit it. Order complete successfully, and we have here. But we need to give the time a bit more. So if I say here, you can see here. So you can see the card is empty. We have one more thing we can do. Let's try this again. So what I do, go back here. Card is empty. Processing must be having an order. So delete this from here as well. Refresh, and we need to recompile, otherwise it won't take effect. So let's try again. Scroll, we get add to cart. Cart has a value, we go there. Now we want to make payment. Alright, order completed successfully, and then it redirects the user to the home. And that's perfect, that's how we want it, so it's working just fine. So yeah, this is it, and you will have the processing details here, so we can check this order was created on this date, with amount paid, this is the address if we want to deliver something, order details are here, quantity and order ID, everything. And yeah, so cart is empty and everything is perfect. So yeah, that's it. So we need to improve it because it is currently we are redirecting it. It should give the success here, and there are so many things we can do in this to extend this project, but for this video I'm just gonna stop now here. We're gonna extend it further in further videos to make it more advanced, but for now I think this is enough because it's already almost a 3+ hour video. So if you want to see some particular things in this project, or some particular approaches, or some particular feature as in e-commerce, what exactly you want me to implement in this, you can put the suggestions in the comment section. I will try to add those in coming videos. Hope you like this video. Code is available for download and for your use. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.